ask you. I made a mistake. I said we're going to have a Eunice off. It didn't sound good, right?
No.
But Zach Pearson said it's for the pride of Eunice.
Listen, I will represent the 337 to my best. we can't have a Eunice off. They only got 10,000 people in Eunice. A trip to Walmart is like you call someone up. You boy, let's go to Walmart. So you can't have a Eunice off. We ain't got enough people to beef like that.
So do you take a bus if you live in Eunice? Do you everybody take a bus to Walmart? Is that what everybody does?
Because no, you just hit up your boy. You get in the back of the truck and you just head down the street. Go down West Laurel. You'll find your way there.
I got to admit, so I know Zach played at LSU Eunice. I had cousins that played at LSU Eunice. When I'm on the way to Eunice, I'd never been there before. I was like, Jeff Willis, we're going to see the great LSU E play. And I'm like, look, there's a rice field. Oh, wait, there's another rice field. So, look, there's not a lot in Eunice, but some great baseball. So maybe we'll talk about that tonight about LSU E and Jeff Willis. Jared, I appreciate you joining the show. I'm grateful. Everybody that has a question for Jared, hit us with the hashtag #AskJared inside the comments. Man, look, we're very close to the football season, and I really love your take, and I want to get your take on this. Jared, I think that this team can go 9-3 at like bare minimum. I think this team could even be looking at getting into a playoff. I know that I can work myself up to get me there, but what says you? What do you think this team is looking forward to this season when it comes to the win-loss column?
I'd reckon 9-3, maybe 10-2, but that all heavily depends on health. I don't think LSU would have stayed at 5-5 last year had Myles Brennan been healthy. I mean, the offense was clicking with him at quarterback even from game one. I mean, I know they were overshadowed by seeing the great KJ Costello go off on them, but you have to remember that Myles Brennan still went out there and put up numbers in that game one of the season, similar to Joe Burrow in 2019's game one. So this offense could be dominant. It could be productive and give you some resemblance of 2019. It all just depends on health. And I do think it's possible, but there are a lot of moving parts here. You have a lot of coaches who are unproven, but I do think they're going to impact morale above all else. Durante Jones, I've loved him from the beginning. I'll be biased and say that. I mean, from the beginning, he's shown an essence and a personality that seems to be what this LSU football team and locker room needs. And to go even further, I heard from the beginning before even spring camp had started that, I won't disclose the linebacker, but I heard a linebacker who was raving about Durante Jones' intellect and his personality and how much, they already see, I guess, a light at the end of the tunnel before spring ball had even started. So I think you're going to see that carry over into the season as well.
Jared, let's stay there. Let's stay on the defensive side first and talk about Durante Jones. The biggest thing for me, and I've came on post-game shows, I talked about it all last season. I talked about it this season. I've talked to some players about the communication. Look, Jared, they were even in the spring game. They didn't show a lot, but they would line up in man or line up in zone. Very last second, they would come up in man. They would line up in man at very last second. They would go back in coverage. And look, you got 3 interceptions when you did that. Communication was a big deal and a big problem while we saw guys like KJ Costello go off in game one. I know that you're hearing things from players, coaches, and stuff like that. Do you hear the same thing about communication on the back end has gotten so much better? And look, we're not even into the summer camp yet. Are you hearing the same?
I have not heard that, communication has been like immensely better, but I will tell you it's showing. And I do think that the scheming will be a lot more beneficial towards them. If you remember, Bo Pelini, he didn't have a good track record of defense after leaving LSU coming into that season. And a myriad of people had seen how complex the defense had been to where they didn't know what to do because they were frozen with so many mental processes going on pre-play, mid-play, post-play. But I do think that the communication will be better. I can't tell you, I've heard they're going to be so much more communicative and that they're going to be better under Durante Jones in that aspect. I just can – the proof is in the pudding, and if the pudding has 3 picks, I think you're in good company.
I agree with that. So we do have some questions flying in from some people. Ryan Thibodeau says that he's actually an honorary citizen of Eunice. Mm-hmm. Okay. I DJ for a special event with DJ Chark. Stephen Frey, our good friend, says, #AskJared, let's go in 50-50 to bring back Jimbo's. Is Jimbo's a big thing in Eunice?
Jimbo's had like some overpriced burgers, bro. I don't want to go back over there, man.
Pearson said the same exact thing.
Like the only time I've been to Jimbo's was one time because they gave you a discount if you had an LSUE student ID, and I'm like, well, I'll try it one time, and it's not worth the price.
I hear you. I think that Craig brings up an interesting question here. He says, hashtag Ask Jarrett, who's a player that you think will have a breakout season that maybe no one's talking about right now? I know that it's a tough question. Look, mine is Jay Ward. Like, I know that some people are talking about Jay Ward, but I've mentioned on this show multiple times, I am the CEO, fan president of his fan club, right? Like, I think that the kid is going to go out there and be lights out. I like what he did against Florida. I mean, and Jared, to me, he won you 2 games. He won you one in Arkansas. Look what he did at Florida. Line it up against Kadarius Toney and having a lot of the pass breakups and the interception. But is there someone to you right now that stands out?
That you could mention or say would be someone that's a surprise? No. For some reason, my gut want to scream Koy Moore. Maybe he'll be that surprise wide receiver for you who could be a compliment wide out to how Kayshon Boutte may explode. And that might be in my bank for you. Might be Koy Moore just to see, how he'll react to this new offense with Jake Peetz and DJ Mangus.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, look, I'm not coming off my Jay Ward. I gotta admit.
Look, he did good things. What up, Zach? Shout out, man.
I got to put it out there. Zach Pearson's in here. Look, I called him out. I said, look, man, you got to be here, and our man's here. Jared, let's go to the offensive side of the football. Look, Jake Peetz is a guy that a lot of people said, yeah, but. Look, we can look with our eyes and look what the spring game told us, and we can look at what the spring game showed us. I'm not big on the spring game. Look, I think that there's too much vanilla in a spring game. But I did like what I saw, though, especially from the wide receivers and the running backs. And look, a lot of them were injured. I know that people are concerned, but what is your level of concern, if any, on Jake Peetz in this offense coming up this season?
I don't have what? Can I go less than 0? I mean, my only concern would be health. And I mean, I know at some point the quarterback battle may get brought up, and you'd consider who would it be, Myles Brennan or Max Johnson, but that's what it'll come down to. And unfortunately, they did lose, of course, Derek Rosenthal. He's gone off the team. You have Cam White, who's a suitable backup who will be able to step in. That might be your only issue is the offensive line, because you're bringing back the same line that had protection issues last year. Is that more of a coaching issue, a communication issue as well? That's something you need to look into. But the offense, I'm not entirely worried about it. You're bringing back talented wide receivers. You're bringing back a talented running back backfield. And I do think no matter who's at quarterback, that they can be successful.
I agree with that. And, look, there's a lot of debate on my show from fans about, we got Miles's camp. We got Max's camp. Now, I got to be honest, we kind of, I don't want to say not broke news, but look, I'm hearing things that he's separating himself, meaning Max Johnson. But I do think it's going to be a battle. To you, if you were Jake Peetz, if you were the OC right now, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but if it were you, who's Jared Joseph going with? Who would your guy be to try to lead you back to the college football playoff?
Max Johnson. And, I mean, you said me if I'm Jake Peetz, but the real question is if I'm Coach O, because he has the final say on that, of course.
Yeah,
but
sure.
If you entered spring camp and you think about what Coach O said, one dude has the lead because he finished the season 2-0. That was, of course, Max Johnson. And I'm not trying to pick at him. I'm just saying that a lot of people made memes out of how Myles Brennan looked in a few pictures. I'm not picking. I'm just saying that's exactly what I saw in my timeline, what I saw on social media, where people were trying to question his shape and saying he was thick but with more than one C. So I'm just here to say that. I'm just here to say that Myles Brennan has history. He has barely a couple of games. He tried to tough it out after Mizzou. Of course, that didn't go too well. Then went to after that TJ Finley, but then Max Johnson finishes up the season 2-0. So Coach O loves one thing above all else, and that's winning in winning ways and minimizing turnovers, take care of the football. And if you look at it, you want a quarterback who can run. Mm-hmm. And who provides that for you better, Myles Brennan or Max Johnson?
Max all day. Twice on Saturday. They say twice on Sunday, but in this case, twice on Saturday. Right. I want to get to name, image, and likeness with you because I think it's a good thing about college football. But I got to say, my favorite meme of the Miles Brennan thing was, remember the Booger McFarland? This kid's one, Kelvin, I forget his last, Kelvin Benjamin is one Popeye's biscuit away from being a tight end. I got to admit, that was my favorite meme of the Miles Brennan. All right. I do want to get the name, image, and likeness. I had to do it. I want to get the name, image, and likeness with you. Look, I'm a former player, high school collegiate, and I'm a big proponent for name, image, and likeness. Everybody is freaking out. At least some portions of college football fans are freaking out. The analogy, Jared, that I've given is that you don't even have 100 players in football, I might add you, that have signed name, image, and likeness deals, and you have close to 130,000 student athletes that are playing D1 football. Are people making this more of a big deal in your mind right now? And how do you feel about name, image, and likeness being passed? And look, we're not even a full week into it, or a little over a full week into it.
I think people need to shut up. Listen, and I'll use a non-football example, but Zion Williamson is the most recent you can say of someone who would have banked in. In the NCAA tournament, March Madness, somebody was assigned to be a Zion cam.
Right.
This man is so talented, he's generating someone a job, and he's not getting any pay out of it that we know of. So my thing is, y'all are making a bigger deal out of it in the worst sense. Like, this is what players are just do. You can imagine how, I know, he always was talking about money, but Johnny Manziel, that boy would have been paid had NIL been in place during his time, and rightfully so. You can't benefit off of these players who are busting their butt. And yes, I know you can beat it to death, get an education, you get, a free ride. But I've had family who's gone to college in different athletics on free rides, and that money isn't enough. But also, I don't know how I would feel if I see my jersey being sold, or I see my name on a billboard, across the city that I'm playing in, and I'm not benefiting from it. In this city, and maybe even across the country, if I'm that good, I'm a celebrity to a degree. How am I be a celebrity and I get paid? Listen, you don't give me a status, and I give me the density that comes with it. Like,
bingo.
Like, if you're about to have a crawfish boil, why are you gonna bring me a big pot and not the crawfish? Why am I not eating? That's my thing. And for someone to say that it's going to ruin college football, it won't. Because the thing is, the same schools that have been getting the top athletes still will. Because why? Those top schools always had the top brands, and that especially includes LSU. And LSU fans, you should not be upset or complain at all. If anything, this helps you. Did you see that LSU drop video? They were ready for it. They were ready for it. So you don't have to worry about if this is going to affect them and get recruits away from them. This may be the biggest boost they could ever get. This may get them pulled, away from Nick Saban and Alabama, just because I don't know a better brand in the way LSU can flex in social media and presence. I mean, in 2019, everyone remembers the dominant run on the field, but everyone also remembers the branding and all the hype videos. And you don't have the same people in there, but you have some new faces who are really generating great content for the university and getting those talented players on there. And also remember, not every single person is going to get paid. And if your additional argument is that, what if some players get jealous? Listen, them's the breaks. The cookie crumbles different ways. Sometimes you don't get a bigger piece of the pie that you might like, and not everybody gets the big piece of chicken out of the container either. It's just how it goes. People, if you bust your butt and you don't get paid for it, I have a problem with it. So I've always been for hoping players get their name, image, and likeness, and I hope too soon have NCAA back in my hand so I can play it on my PS5.
Absolutely. Preach on it. You know who got the bigger piece of the pie was Miles Brennan during this offseason. Anyway, I agree with you. Look, there was a study done about Joe Burrow and about how much money LSU made, hovering around the $53 million mark, making money off of his name at $53 million. You mean to tell me that a guy's getting paid less from the NFL now than what LSU profited off of his name in 2019? Oh, and by the way, Jared, and I agree with you here too, the name, image, and likeness, the billboard in Times Square. By the way, I did the research on it. For 1 day or 1 week, it's time slotted per weeks, is 1.2 million. So they dropped 1.2 million for a week. So I just want to let people understand that. Last one, Jared, and we'll get you out of here. You've been great. We do have the NBA Finals. We don't talk about the NBA Finals a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I know we're going to be watching it. I got to be honest. I think the Bucks are going to win tonight. I think that just something in my gut is telling me you got to watch out for Middleton. You got to watch out how Giannis is going to react. Something just in my gut. Now, I see you kind of got a little bit of a grimace.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me why you think it's going to be the Suns tonight.
Because there's no pick and roll that the Suns can't score on. And I think you have Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, you have Devin Booker, and you have key pieces like Jay Crowder sitting there in the corner. I don't think that the Bucks win until they're back in Milwaukee and they're already down 2-0. I'm willing to die on that hill if somehow Giannis goes off for like 40 and 15. I think if he does that, the Bucks would win by like 3 or 4. I just think that the Suns have the edge. I think Giannis, if he's healthy, is the best player on the floor, but I think you can go the next 2 to 3 to 4 are going to be right there in Phoenix. And Chris Middleton, I'm not going to sit here and rely on the inconsistent Middleton. Like,
I agree with that.
I know he could put up 20 in a quarter, but I need at least 25 a game, and he doesn't do that consistently for you. And there's always the argument about him being the Batman of the real Batman of the team, or at least a good Robin to the Batman of Giannis, but he's not consistent. Chris Paul has gone from the distributor to the dominator. I'm not going to – like, he is trying to seize the moment. He came out in game 1 and was, going to work, and even post-game talking to Malika Andrews, you're trying to act like he didn't know that he had the tape up on his hand, like we couldn't see. I wanted to say for a second to the Phoenix Suns training staff, that little old towel you put up there, acting like we didn't see that they were taping up.
I know.
Everybody and their mama saw it, my guy. There's no reason y'all had to hide that. But all that to say, I do think Phoenix takes game 2. I think they hold serve at home. And if they don't, it'll take a Herculean effort from Giannis and Middleton. I don't think it'll take just one. I think it'll take both. And I know they started Suns in 5. You tripping? Suns in 6. I think the Bucks put Suns in 6. As much as I'm trashing on Milwaukee, don't count out a 2-time MVP, Defensive Player of the Year. Like, once he gets home. And my thing is, Giannis is fearless, and he don't come off as it. But people destroyed Ben Simmons, me along with it, that he didn't want to take the shot. He didn't want to get fouled. Giannis will shoot an air ball and go back and shoot it again. He won't care. He'll take the shot. And because of that, I think that pushes this series to 6. But tonight, I think Phoenix takes a 2-0 lead. And if I'm wrong, it's because Giannis and Middleton decided to become not Batman and Robin. If you watch anime, they may be Goku and Vegeta. But that may be elements right there.
Okay. Just know, it's a Thursday night. AYS people get a little tipsy around here. If the Milwaukee Bucks win, we're gonna be going back and forth on Twitter. That's all I'm saying. But you can't. But look, if the Suns win, I'm gonna be asleep. I'm just gonna let you know. I'm not gonna reply. But if I win, I'm gonna be a sore winner. I'm gonna tell you that.
Look, man. If you find your way to some crown or something, that's your shoe. All I'm gonna say is, I'm gonna sit back. I'm gonna watch and let the cards fall where they may. If I gotta take some flack for saying Suns winning tonight, I'll do it. But that's the hill I'm going to die on. And I hope they got some good food on that hill because I'm going to be there for a while.
Jared, tell everybody where they can catch you. You've been fantastic. We'll have to bring you again soon. But tell everybody where they can catch you at and all your stuff and all your social media.
Right. Well, thank you. Of course, I'm with WVOH/WGMB. You can find my content, all of our content, on brproud.com. And, of course, you can find me on Twitter at Jared P. Joseph. And the rest of our Go Nation crew as well, with Brian Holland, Chester Boucher, and Brooke Kirchhoffer. You can find all of us clowning around a little bit on Twitter. We're providing you with some great content with LSU, Southern, and the Saints. And look, it's been a joy being on here, and y'all give us some follows, and we'll be sure to give you our best.
Thanks, brother. We'll talk again soon. Y'all have a good night, and y'all have a good weekend.
Thank you, man. You too. I appreciate it.
No problem. That is Jared P. Joseph with BR Proud News. Absolutely.